Hey everyone, welcome back to Grid. Season 1 is upon us, so let's go ahead and check out what's new. We've got a new career tab here with 2 new paths, one featuring car classes we've already had in-game, and another one focusing on some of the new cars, hot hatches. So we've got 4 new cars available, the John Cooper Works Mini, Lancia Delta HF Integrale, Renault Clio S1600, and the Audi S1 Quattro. And you can drive these new cars on the new circuit returning to the series, Paris, which has 3 available routes. So let's hop into the street career path and talk a bit more about what's been happening in the world of Grid over the past few months. First though, I want to catch you guys up on how I'm playing Grid. I'm using a G29 racing wheel with pedals, handbrake, and shifter, all mounted up to a racing cockpit. I mentioned this in my review of the game, but Grid really started coming together once I plugged in that wheel. Sadly, it took me way too long to realize that, and by the time of reviewing, I only had a couple hours playing with the wheel setup. But now, not only has my G29 expanded into this full racing sim rig, I've also had quite a bit more time with the setup in Grid. And while playing earlier this week, I had a moment of realization. With my whole sim rig set up here, racing around the globe on circuits with these big set pieces, I realized Grid is like the perfect evolution of the arcade racing games I always played as a kid. And the best part is it's here in my house. When I was young, my friends and I would spend hours on the Ridge Racer machines at my local arcade, sitting in those plastic racing seats and fake cockpits, just in awe of how immersive it all felt. Now, here I am in my basement, sitting in a pretty comfy racing seat and cockpit layout and surround monitors, and sure, a lot of other racing games do a lot of stuff better than Grid, but I've realized now that Grid to me is that pinnacle of the old school arcade racing experience. Now I promise there's a point to this bit of rambling and we'll circle back to it, but I do just need to get that bit of backstory out of the way first. So rambling over, let's get back into what's been going on with Grid. We're now 2 months past launch and have seen a good handful of bug fixing and performance patches, which does mean Grid is running really well for me. Near launch, a lot of players struggled with crashing issues and inconsistent performance, but for me now, things are buttery smooth. One of the big issues though that everyone has been having and are still having is with the multiplayer. Currently, the experience is often frustrating and lonely because matches will usually fill too quickly with AI drivers instead of waiting to match with other live players, making an already small community feel even smaller. Quick matches, the only way to play publicly, doesn't easily support playing with friends or choosing how you want to play. Private custom lobbies do exist and are the only real way to race with your buddies, but you have to manually invite people to play, and no matter who you are, it's rare to have 15 other friends ready to race at any given time. So if you're the type that wants to play online with others, Grid has so far disappointed in that aspect. But this and many other complaints are being addressed with the addition of public lobbies, which have been confirmed to be coming around the new year. It looks like this is at the top of the priority list for Codemasters right now, and for very good reason. A healthy online community does wonders for keeping gameplay fresh, and Grid needs some replay value. So it's looking like the custom options from private lobbies will now also allow for making a lobby public and available on a server browser that everyone can use. This is a huge feature for smaller communities. Public lobbies should greatly help open up the player base more and finally let friends race with each other online. Now, speaking of replay value, let's talk content. Season 1 has delivered us 4 new cars and 1 new location. In my opinion, this needs to be ramped up. To bring it back to those arcade days, you never were really able to spend that much time on an arcade machine, and it was rare to experience everything in the game or get bored with it because of that. So even though Grid, at least with my setup here, emulates that arcade style and feeling initially really well and is super fun to dive into every now and then, the lack of content and replay features become more and more of an issue every day. Back at the arcade, racing with friends or other randoms on nearby machines made the games way more fun and kept the experience fresh, but The current bare-bones multiplayer in Grid and limited content releases are not enough to keep this game going. We do know that Season 2 will be coming early next year, and I'm very curious and hopeful for what that will deliver. I'd love to see a good bit more than 4 cars and at least 2 course locations. Now, we will have had the public lobby patch by the time Season 2 comes out, so that should keep the ball rolling for a bit, and I'm excited to see the multiplayer get that much needed revival. Either way though, I just hope Cody's keep the updates coming, because I do love having a good excuse to break out my sim rig and jump back into this awesome arcade racer. The new hot hatches are fun to drive, with the Quattro being my easy favorite, and it's really nice seeing Paris back in the game again, but we need more and we need to see that multiplayer patch. So thanks for watching everyone, let me know what you guys think of Season 1 so far, and I'll see you in the next one.